Welcome guys, Sizwe Sake here, Sizwe Sake Academy, and this is the Global Classroom. We're still on trigonometry. These are exercises. Determine the exact values of the following. Oh, I forgot to put, it should be without the use of a calculator. In fact, so they are asking us to find this without using a calculator. And this, when we're doing this, 2 or 3, in fact, it's two major things we need to look at here each time we have something like this. Number 1, the angle. The angle. Where is this angle? In which quadrant is the angle? 45 is in quadrant 1. Sine, where is sine? Positive, because we are given sine 45 and it's positive 45. So where is sine positive? Sine is positive in the first and the second quadrant. But because it's 45, it means we are only limited to the first quadrant. Sine is positive there. So it's sine 45 degrees. If we were given, for instance, sine 240. 240 is in the third quadrant, between 180 and 270. That's where 240 is. The question is, how is sine in 240 degrees? How is sine in the third quadrant? And we know that sine is negative in the third quadrant because sine is positive in the first and second quadrant. In the third quadrant, only tangent is positive. So here sine 45, before we even do it, we know that 45 is the first quadrant, and all ratios in the first quadrant are positive. Therefore, sine also is positive in the first quadrant. Now, the last question, which is the third one, what is the ratio of sine 45? Remember that sine, in the ratios of 45, we have two ratios. We have the x and the y values, which is in the sine, which is a ratio. The values there is root 2 over 2 for x, and y also is root 2 over 2. That is y. But we know that when we are looking for a sine of any value of any angle, we take the y part only. If we are looking for cos, we take the x part only. We only use 2 if it's tangent, because tangent would be sine over cos. So we use both these, but you will see, as we've got tan here, we've got tan there, you will see how we go about it. So I want you to know that when you look at this, don't let it frustrate you. Just ask yourself 45 degree or first quadrant, from 0 to 90, 45 degrees there. Sine is positive in the first and second quadrant, but we are only limited to the first quadrant, and sine there is positive. For in the first quadrant, all the ratios are positive, right? So we say we've got two values in the first quadrant. In sine 45, in 45 degree, we've got the x value and the y value in angle 45. But since they asked for sine, we know when we are looking for a sine of 45 degree, we take the y value only, and the y value only here, the y value here is root 2 over 2. So the y value, we don't look at the x value. So the answer here is root 2 over a 2. Remember, I explained, check the 45 degree angle. Root 2 over 2 is the same as 1 over root 2. Check the 45 degree angle. I explain why this is the same as this, or this is the same as this. why these two things are equal. I did explain that, so be careful to go there and check and find out why I said that. So the answer here is root 2 over 2. I just prefer using root 2 over 2. I know others prefer using 1 over root 2. Like I'm saying, it's the same thing. Number 2, we come to cos 45. Just said that sine takes the y value. This is the y value. Maybe let me use green here. Y value, because we took a sine. It's the y value. And cos is the x value. The same decrease here, but this one takes the x value, and the x value there is root 2 over 2. It's the x value. At cos we take the x value because we had x, we had y, and x is root 2 over 2 at 45 degrees. At 45 degrees, x is root 2 over 2, and y is also root 2 over 2. If you are not sure, go and check the 45-degree angle. We tell you where we get this root 2 over 2. Where does it come from? How did we get about to say 45 degree is root 2 over 2? That's how you will know. And once you know it, you will just know. It will never come out of your mind. Alright, so this is the answer here. Root 2 over 2. We come to the third one. Third one is tangent of 30. But we know that tangent is sine. So we've got sine 30 degrees over a cos of 30 degrees. Sine 30 degrees over cos 30. Sine 30 degrees, we know in ratios it's the y value, which is half, over cos 30 at 30 degrees, which is root 3 over 2. We have 1 divided by 2. 1 over 2 divided by root 3 over 2, and 1 over 2 multiplied by 2 over root 3, and we cancel the 2's. We are left with 1 over root 3. This is the answer for this one. 1 over root 3. Tangent, first quadrant, 30 degrees in the first quadrant. Tangent fits in the first quadrant, and tangent in the first quadrant is positive because all values in the first quadrant are positive. Hence we've got a positive 1 over root 3. Here, if you didn't see what I did, I said 1 over 2, which this 1 over 2 divided. This line is the same as this, root 3 over 2. Because I'm dividing, I change, it's a fraction. When I put multiplication, the denominator goes to becomes the numerator, and the numerator becomes the denominator, but only for the divisor. Not the first part, not this part. This is the part where you swap. And then when you swap, you cancel these 2, you are left with 1 over root 3. It is 1 over root 3. If you even punch your calculator, 30 degrees will give you 1 over root 3, and in decimal form it should be 0.577. It's 1 over root 3. That is where it is. Now we come to cot of 60. Cot of 60, you can do the same as the tangent. You can either use 1 over tangent. Cot is 1 over tan 60 degrees, and then you work from there. Alternatively, you can use just cos 60 degrees over sine 60 degrees. Also go there to the videos and find out why cos there is there, where we explain cot and when we explain tangent, how it plays around. Cot is being cos over sine and tangent being sine over cos. There are videos there. Sizwe Sakhe Academy, there is a video that explains all of this. Now we've already sorted this. It's cos of 60. Remember, all values, this is the first quadrant, 60 is in the first quadrant, and all values, all ratios are positive. So this remains positive. So we've got cos 60 over sine 60. And what is a cos of 60? At 60 degrees, we're looking for the x value, and the x value at 60 degrees is a half. all over sine of 60. At 60 degrees, we're looking for the y value, which is root 3 over a 2. And this becomes 1 over 2 divided by root 3 all over a 2. And this becomes a half multiplied by 2 over root 3. 2 over root 3, it cancels. We've got 1 over the root of 3. This is our answer. Cos of 60, it's the x value. At 60 degrees, we're looking for the values of 60. And the value of 60, the value of x, cos of 60, it's at 60 degrees, we're looking for x. The value of x, and the value of x at 60 is half. The value of y at 60, which is sine, is root 3 over a 2, and then we work it out from there, we get this. Remember, we are told not to use a calculator, so they want these to remain like this. You don't go now, because you've got the answer as 1 over root 3. Now you go and change it to a point form, a decimal form. They would consider you wrong, because they will assume you copied or you cheated by using a calculator. So don't do that. Here we've got tangent 150. Do the same thing. We say tangent is not cos over sine, but it is sine 150 degrees all over a cos 150 degrees, right? Equal to, what is sine 150? A sine of 150. 150 is the same as the 30-degree angle, so the values there are the same. So sine 150 is half all over the cos of 150. The cos of 150, it's the x value. Sine 150 is the y value at 30 degrees or at 150 degrees, which is half, and the cos value is the x value. Cos 150 is the x value at 30 degrees or 150 degrees, which becomes 150, which becomes root 3 all over a 2. All over a 2. Let's go back. Sine 150, sine is half, cos is root 3 over 2, which is equal to tan. It's sine over cos. Sine 150, I'm correct, root 3. Yes, root sine is half, it's the y value, cos is the x value, so we have 1 over 2 divided by root 3 over 2, which is 1 over 2 multiplied by 2 over root 3, which is equal to 1 times 2 is 2 over 2 root 3. 2, oh, it's 1 over root 3, sorry. We might as well just cancel once, almost root 2 over root 3, which is this is 1 over a root of 3. It is equal to. But I want you to focus on something now, which I should have done initially, but I left it for a purpose, so that you can pick up how much you know. If you know, you should already have corrected me, because we're talking tangent and we're talking 150. 150 is in the second quadrant, and tangent in the second quadrant is negative, because only sine is positive in the second quadrant. So my answer here should have carried this one, cos 150, because sine in the second quadrant, if you pick it, sine in the second quadrant is positive, but cos in the second quadrant is negative, because only sine is positive in the second quadrant. Cos is positive in the first and fourth quadrant. So here it's positive and negative, so here it's positive and negative, positive and a negative. and a negative. So my answer should show that it is equal to a negative 1 over root 3. That is my answer here. Just wanted you to see and test yourself on how much you already know. So tangent, tan 150, one tangent is negative 150 is in the second quadrant. So that is what determines the angle. Tells you where you are. It tells you your place where you are. The ratio is dependent on the angle. The angle tells you, and the ratio says I'm tangent at 150, no tangent, you don't belong there. Tangent, that's not your side, that's sine side, that's the side for sine. So only sine is positive in the second quadrant. Therefore tangent, if you are not positive in the second quadrant, you can only be negative. So the answer here is negative. Then we come to this one, sec 135. We use the inverse 1 over sec, its inverse is cos 135 degrees. So we have 1 over 135 degrees is in the second quadrant. Second quadrant, that's where 135 is. Cos in the second quadrant is negative, because in the second quadrant only sine is positive, cos is negative. So we have cos 135 degrees, and then we say negative. And 135 cos is what? Cos is root 2, the x value at 135 is root 2 over 2. So we say root 2 over a 2, and we have 1 divided by 1, 1 over 1 basically divided by a negative root 2 over a 2. And then this is 1 multiplied by negative 2 over root 2, and the answer is negative 2 over a root of 2. This is it, guys. This is it. Cos 135, cos jib 135 root 2 over 2. Remember, don't be confused. This root 2 over 2 is the same as 1 over root 2. So here, maybe you'd find that if you use 1 over root 2, here your answer will be a negative root 2. It's the same thing. Your answer, because it would be the inverse of 1. So here it would be 1. Here it would be root 2 over 1. Because here it would be divided by 1 over root 2. So when you get here, this goes above, this will go above, and this will go below. The denominator becomes the numerator, and the numerator becomes, so your answer here would be negative root 2. Maybe let's punch the calculator and see if the values here are the same. So we say 2 divided by 2 root, it's 1.4, and 2 root is 1.4. So the answer is the same. The answer works out to be the same. Well, guys, thank you for watching. Watch out for more videos coming up on this, and then use this as your practical point. Take your time, relax, don't panic, work through it. Remember your values, remember your ratios. Your ratios are your sine, tan, cos, and they are inverses as well. And your values are your xy values, where x is root 3 over 2. That's x with 30 degrees, root 3 over 2, and your y is half. Or at 45, your x is root 2 over 2, or you call it 1 over root 2, and your y also at 45 is root 2 over 2, or as you may call it, 1 over root 2. So you work with that, and you must patiently do that. Remember, first thing first, the degree. Your degree tells you which quadrant you are in, and then you look, when you are in that quadrant, you look at the ratio you are given, and then you ask yourself, is this ratio positive in this quadrant or negative? Then you found your solution. But also another method is just knowing these ratios. You know 240, then at 240 you've got minus root 3 over 2 as your x value, and your y value is minus half. So you already know, because you know those, that at the third quadrant all the values are negative. The x and the y values in the third quadrant are both negative, so that they can give you a tangent, because we divide the other with the other, so it's sine over cos. So they have to be both negative to give you a positive tangent. Thank you guys. Watch out for more videos, and God bless you.